Your mind is not your enemy unless you let it be. The battlefield of success isn't out there, it's right here between your ears. And until you conquer that territory, you'll always be at war with your own future. If you don't master your mind will master you. You'll be driven by fear, distracted by doubt, and led by emotions that have no vision. In this video, you'll discover 5 powerful principles that will help you take authority over your thoughts and step into the clarity, courage, and discipline that your purpose demands. Your mind is a garden, and whether you realize it or not, it is always growing something. Every conversation you entertain, every image you focus on, every thought you rehearse, these are seeds being sown. You are the gardener, and life responds not to what you wish, but to what you plant. The condition of your life is the harvest of your thoughts. If you sow negativity, bitterness, fear, or mediocrity, don't be surprised when that's exactly what grows. That's why you must become intentional with what you allow into your mental soil. Fear doesn't need permission to grow, it just needs your inattention. Doubt doesn't need an invitation, it just needs your silence. But faith, clarity, discipline, and purpose, they must be planted, watered, protected, and nurtured. You can't wake up and expect strength to be there if you never planted it. You can't hope for peace in your life when you've been sowing chaos in your mind. You don't get a garden of purpose by accident. You must decide what kind of life you want to live, and then reverse engineer the thoughts that produce that life. The great tragedy is not that people live without purpose, is that they never take authority over the thoughts that destroy purpose. Thoughts are not harmless. They are seeds. They are builders. They are architects of belief systems that shape decisions, relationships, and direction. When you allow anything and everything to take root in your mind, you lose the power of focus. You lose the ability to discern which thoughts are from God and which are the result of fear, trauma, or conditioning. Just as no gardener allows wild weeds to take over the soil, no leader, no visionary, no purpose-driven person can afford to let mental weeds grow unchecked. If you see anxiety showing up, trace it back to a thought. If insecurity is rising in your heart, trace it back to a belief. These are not random. They are rooted. And what is rooted will bear fruit. Unless you uproot it with truth. Mastery begins when you take responsibility. You are not a victim of your thoughts. You are the gatekeeper of your mind. You have the authority to say, that seed does not belong here. You have the power to say, I will no longer entertain images of failure, memories of defeat, or voices of limitation. The more intentional you are, the more fruitful your life becomes. You must feed your mind what you want to see manifest in your life. Read what fuels your vision. Speak what affirms your identity. Surround yourself with conversations that build, not break, that stretch, not shrink, that activate, not anesthetize. Because what you feed will lead. Your thoughts lead your choices lead your habits, and your habits shape your destiny. So if you want to change your life, stop reacting to the weeds. Start planting new seeds. Start speaking life. Start rehearsing victory. And remember, your future harvest is hidden in today's thought. Plant with purpose, and your life will grow in power. You can't change your life until you change your thoughts. Everything you're living right now, your habits, your responses, your decisions, your patterns, it all began as a thought. Nothing in your external world can shift permanently until something shifts in your internal world. That's why the scripture says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Not as he dreams, not as he wishes, but as he thinks. Your dominant thoughts are setting the boundaries of your destiny. If you think small, you will never birth big things. If you think like a victim, you will never walk in victory. It doesn't matter how much talent you have, how many resources surround you, or how many opportunities are knocking at your door. If your mind is not aligned with purpose, you will sabotage the very blessings that were meant to bless you. Many people are not trapped by circumstances, they're trapped by cycles of thought. They're not stuck because of enemies, they're stuck because of internal agreements with fear, shame, and unworthiness. They've rehearsed failure in their mind so many times they've made it their identity. You cannot live above the narrative you've chosen to believe. Your life is constantly reflecting what your mind is projecting. If you keep playing mental reruns of pain, rejection, and disappointment, you'll never see the future that God is trying to reveal. You cannot walk confidently into your destiny while dragging the weight of mental defeat. The mind is a preview screen. It will always show you something, but you have a choice in what you allow it to display. Too many people are watching horror films of their past on repeat. They've memorized their traumas, their betrayals, their losses. And every time they start to make progress, the movie starts playing again. But God is not the director of your fear. He is the author of your faith. He's given you the power to change the channel. You don't have to keep watching what broke you. You can start watching what builds you. You can play the trailer of your potential. You can fill your imagination with vision, with faith, with the preview of what God is preparing. Your mind was not designed to be a prison. It was designed to be a platform. Every breakthrough begins with a renewed mind. Every promotion, every healed relationship, every step into purpose starts when your thoughts align with truth. Don't just ask for a new life, build it with new thoughts. Stop borrowing shame from yesterday and start investing hope into tomorrow. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are who God says you are. And once you believe that, not just in theory, but in thought, everything changes. When your mind is transformed, your life must follow. You can't stay in bondage if your thoughts are anchored in freedom. You can't stay stuck when your thinking is rooted in purpose. It's time to stop trying to change your life from the outside in. Change your thoughts and your life will be forced to catch up. Emotions are powerful forces. They rise up without permission, crash through the doors of your thoughts and demand to be heard. But just because they shout loud doesn't mean they speak the truth. One of the greatest deceptions many fall into is the belief that how they feel is who they are. But you are not your emotions. You are the steward of them. Mastering your mind begins with recognizing that emotions are meant to report to you, not rule over you. They are messengers, indicators of what's happening inside or around you, but they were never meant to sit on the throne of your life. When you allow emotions to lead, your decisions become reactive instead of strategic, temporary instead of transformational. Feelings fluctuate, but purpose stands still. Vision does not waver because your mood shifted. Discipline does not disappear because you're having a rough day. You can feel overwhelmed and still make a wise decision. You can feel afraid and still choose to act in faith. That's the power of emotional maturity. It doesn't deny the feeling, it simply refuses to give it authority. Immature minds are slaves to every emotional impulse, pulled back and forth by whatever the day brings. But a mature mind hears the feeling, honors the message, and responds with wisdom. Anxiety may say, "You're not ready." But maturity says, "Thank you for the alert. I'll prepare and go anyway." Fear may whisper, "What if you fail?" But wisdom responds, "Failure is feedback. I'm moving forward regardless." The truth is, most of what you feel is shaped by past programming, trauma, insecurity, past rejection, or cultural conditioning. And if you let that programming lead, you'll never grow beyond the limitations of your pain. That's why your mind must be rooted in truth, not temporary emotional noise. Just because it feels real doesn't mean it's right. Just because it feels urgent doesn't mean it's God. The mind that is governed by emotion will always sabotage vision, because emotion sees the moment, vision sees the future. And if you're going to walk in destiny, you must choose truth, even when it contradicts your feelings. You don't gain power over your emotions by suppressing them. You gain power by putting them in their proper place. Name what you feel, acknowledge it, but don't obey it unless it aligns with purpose. Emotions can inform you, but they should never form your decisions. When you build your life based on emotions, you end up with instability, because emotions are temporary. They change like the weather. But when you build on truth, on purpose, on conviction, you create a foundation that no storm can shake. So don't silence your emotions. Train them. Don't ignore them. Lead them. Don't be ruled by how you feel. Be governed by who you are. Because the day you stop bowing to your emotions is the day you start walking in power. Master your emotions, and you will unlock the clarity, strength, and stability that destiny requires. Focus is not just a skill, it is a spiritual weapon. It is the gatekeeper of your destiny and the guardian of your potential. The undisciplined mind is like a city without walls. Anything can enter, anything can exit, and anything can control it. But a focused mind is fortified. It is deliberate, it is governed by clarity and anchored in purpose. In this age of constant noise, distraction has become the silent assassin of destiny. Many people are not failing because they lack intelligence, talent, or opportunity. They are failing because their attention is fractured. They are pouring their energy into too many places that don't matter. Focus is not about doing more. It's about eliminating what is irrelevant so you can give your full strength to what truly matters. It's not about being busy. It's about being effective. Because motion is not progress if it's in the wrong direction. Every time you allow your attention to drift into comparison, gossip, fear, or procrastination, you leak power, you dilute your strength, you rob your future. The greatest achievers are not the most gifted, they are the most disciplined in their focus. They don't allow every voice to have volume. They don't allow every situation to have access. They live with the awareness that energy is limited, and where they invest their attention determines the quality of their life. You must guard your focus like treasure. You must learn to say no. Not just to distractions, but even to good things that are not the right things for this season of your life. Focus is the currency of impact. What you give attention to becomes the blueprint of your reality. If you focus on problems, you magnify stress. If you focus on offense, you magnify bitterness. But if you focus on solutions, you activate creativity. If you focus on vision, you multiply momentum. Your life expands or shrinks in proportion to your focus. And the enemy of your soul knows that. That's why distractions are constant. That's why the pressure to multitask is so strong. Because if the enemy can't destroy you, he'll settle for distracting you. And a distracted person is just as ineffective as a defeated one. This is why focus must become a daily discipline. Every morning you wake up, you must ask yourself, what deserves my mind today? What am I building today? What can I let go of so I can go forward? You have to train your mind to reject the urgent in favor of the important. You have to become ruthless about guarding your mental space. Purpose does not compete with nonsense. Destiny does not dwell in the company of distractions. You weren't born to chase everything. You were born to master the one thing that matters most. Focus is the power to say yes to your calling and no to everything that weakens it. And when you guard it, you grow. When you protect it, you prosper. When you master it, nothing becomes impossible. Mind mastery requires daily renewal. You don't master your mind once and for all. It's not a checkbox you tick off on a to-do list and move on from. It's a continual process, a deliberate commitment you must make every single day. The mind is not a machine that runs on autopilot without supervision. It's a garden that must be tended, a temple that must be guarded, and a battlefield that must be won over and over again. Every morning when you wake up, the first thing that needs your attention isn't your phone, your schedule, or your bank account. It's your mind. Before you face the world, you must face yourself. You must align your thoughts with your vision, your values, and your God-given assignment. This is not hype. This is not fluff, and it's certainly not optional. This is war. Spiritual war, mental war, a war between the truth and the lie, between purpose and pressure, between discipline and distraction. And the most dangerous part is that the enemy doesn't come with weapons you can see. He comes with thoughts you won't question. He doesn't need to break down your door when he can whisper through your doubt. That's why a renewed mind is not just a healthy mind, it is a fortified mind. It is protected. It is discerning. It doesn't let every thought stay. It interrogates ideas. It sifts feelings through filters of faith. It knows the difference between what is helpful and what is harmful, between what builds and what breaks. You must build walls of truth, boundaries that keep deception out and clarity in. You must build windows of perspective, lenses that allow light to enter and lies to exit. You must construct doors that only open to purpose and slam shut against mediocrity. The mind that is renewed daily becomes like a fortress, a stronghold of wisdom, not of fear. You begin to walk with a filter. You don't absorb everything around you. You start deciding what deserves your mental energy. You no longer let the chaos of the outside world shape the narrative within. Because the one who controls your mind controls your life. Mental mastery is not something you inherit. It's something you build. And you build it through repetition, reflection, and intentional renewal. Just as the body needs daily nourishment, the mind needs daily alignment. This is why you cannot afford to be passive with your thought life. You can't let circumstances shape your conclusions. You must rise up every day and make your mind obey your mission. Some people wait for motivation, others create momentum. And momentum is birthed in the quiet moments of decision when you say, I will not think like a victim. I will not dwell in fear. I will not rehearse my failures. I will fix my mind on truth, on excellence, on vision, on destiny. Because when you win the battle in the mind, you win the battle in life. Every breakthrough begins in thought form. Every transformation starts in the mind. So master it daily, faithfully, fearlessly, because your future depends on it. Stop waiting for your circumstances to change. Change your thinking, and your circumstances will follow. You were never created to be a slave to thoughts of defeat. You were created to rule with wisdom, to build with vision, and to lead with clarity. Master your mind, and you'll unlock the life that's already waiting on the other side of your thoughts.